The Legend of Mulan. 1,000 years old, when China faced with the situation of crisis war, the enemies which led by General Shan Yu sometimes made China's army overwhelmed. In the same situation, China lacks troops to fight. One day, the emperor decided that every man from every family should leave his family and join the army. The news spread by very fast. When members of each family were sent into the mountains to be trained under a general. Mulan, a teenager who lived far away in the village, heard that news and looked so sad. She met her father and tried to persuade her father not to join the army because her father was too old to fight. She didn't want anything happen with her father, but her father can't be stopped. She had brother, but her brother still too young. Mulan worried about her father's conditions. She thinks how to stop her father. Mulan didn't despair. She finally decided to replace her father. She grabbed a man's shirt, rolled up her hair, and put on a helmet to make her look like a man. At night, Mulan went out of the house and left a letter for her father. She rode a horse and went to the mountain where the army will be trained. She knew woman will not be allowed to fight, but she also knew that her love for her father and country came from her heart. At the time, she didn't care whether she was a woman or a man, but she was a warrior. When Mulan arrived at the Imperial Army's training camp, she met Captain Li Shang as a general of the army. Mulan happy to know that Li Shang and the others believed she was a man. Mulan started her training. She tried hard to hone her ability to use a sword, and she studied quickly. When everyone rested, she trained her skill. All the fighters loved Mulan because of her confidence to serve her country. But in the other place, there is someone who always paid attention to Mulan. He is Mushu, a guardian dragon that was sent to help Mulan as a request from Mulan's mother to the ancestor to protect Mulan. Mushu realized that Mulan was so talented in using sword, so he decided to write a fake letter who aimed to Li Shang that they went to the mountain because the enemy would attack them. The fake letter caused a commotion. Then the soldiers went to the mountain, but the falsity of it turned out to be a big problem. The enemy watching onto the mountain and watching when the soldiers made a mistake. The soldiers met with the enemy, and the big war happened. They were surrounded by the thousands of Huns. Mulan got an idea. She grabbed the last cannon and directed the cannon to hit the tip of the mountain. Cannon falls on the target and create avalanche of snow that buries the enemy. Today, there is a victory of the Imperial Army. But unfortunately, the cannon injured Mulan and she collapsed. All the people gathered around her. As a general, Li Shang helps her, but the helmet falls and saw Mulan's long hair. Li Shang was very risky knowing that she is not a man.
I'm sorry, General. I'm not Chang. I'm Mulan. My dad is sick and I don't want him to get any injured. I decided to replace my father, but women were not allowed to fight, so I made myself as a man. I'm sorry.
He was very disappointed to know the truth. Everyone left Mulan alone. As she sat with Mushu and her horse, she had felt fairly at her family and herself. But suddenly, she heard a strange noise, and saw there are so many Huns who prepared to fight the city. Mulan raced to the imperial city to warn Li Shang.
General, the enemies are still alive. They will be back to attack the city. Our emperor is in danger.
Mulan decided to defeat the enemies by herself. She grabbed her horse and headed for the kingdom. When Mulan arrived in the city, she saw the enemy has mastered the gates of the palace. Mulan hurried entrance to the palace and found that the emperor had already captured.
What do I do now? Oh, wait. I think I have an idea.
Mulan approaches General Shan Yu as Mulan, not as Chang. Mulan tried to cheat Shan Yu by saying that Chang, a man who buried all his soldiers, was waiting to beat him on the roof. Shan Yu was angry and affected by Mulan's words. He followed Mulan to the roof, but suddenly Mulan encouraged Shan Yu to be falling down. Then she took out her sword. Shan Yu was shocked and confused by Mulan's attack. A first battle between Mulan and Shan Yu ensues. Mulan grabbed Shan Yu's sword and pinned his sword to the roof. He could move when Mushu shot a rocket to his way. After beating Shan Yu, Mulan went to the downstairs to save her emperor. But surprisingly, the emperor was saved by General Li Shang and his soldiers. Everyone happy to hear the news that the enemies defeat. The emperor gives honorable to Mulan on her birth. Mulan thanked to the emperor and returns to her family. All her family very happy to hear that she can survive. They also proud of Mulan's courage to defeat the enemy.